Hey everyone, so today I wanted to make a video about basically telling you guys how to get rid of or how to manage the dry patches that tend to occur on your skin when you wear foundation. And this can happen regardless of your skin type. I know people with this is common for people with dry skin, but also people with oily skin can get it too. I know my sister and like my mom complain about it all the time, so that's what I'm going to help you guys with today. So the first thing to remember with dryness is that it usually isn't the foundation that causes it. It's most likely your skin. So you need to start with skincare. So you need to make sure that your skin is in a good condition so that your foundation will be able to look flawless and smooth and everything that you want it to look. So the most important thing to remember with this is exfoliating. So when you exfoliate, you're getting rid of all the dead skin that's on the surface, and it's going to reveal that new baby skin, and it's going to be a lot smoother, and your foundation will apply a lot more evenly. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to find a good moisturizer, and a lot of people tend to neglect this, especially if they have oily skin, but it's actually just important to moisturize if you have oily skin. Um, uh, than if you had dry skin. So you need to find a good moisturizer. A good one for oily skin is the Embryolisse the Lait Cream, I think that's what it's called. It's the one in the white and blue packaging. I think they have another one for dry skin, but I'm not too sure. And also the Clinique, the gel and the lotion are both really good. The gel is for oily skin and the lotion is for dry skin, but even if you have oily skin, you could still use the lotion, but I wouldn't recommend you putting it all over your face if you have oily skin. So we got skincare covered. Next is primer. So primer is really important because it sets the base for your foundation, and your foundation probably isn't going to look too good if you haven't used a primer. So you don't really need to spend a lot of money on your primer. A good one for dry patches is the baby skin, but I wouldn't put that all over your face if you have oily skin because it will get really shiny. But if you have dry skin, you can go ahead and put that all over your face. The Porefessional is also really good at like smoothing your skin, and that will also help to keep your skin matte. And in general, just any kind of silicone primer will help to kind of smooth the patches, and it'll help your foundation go on a lot smoother, and it'll also help throughout the day because a lot of the time your foundation will look good when you first put it on, but throughout the day you'll see like dryness, especially around like the nose, like this area here that tends to get like the worst, for me at least. And then a lot of other people that I know that have this issue. So you definitely want to make sure that you are choosing a good primer. I would definitely avoid anything that's like sticky or tacky because that's gonna cling to the dry patches, and it's gonna make any product cling. So when you so we covered primer. So next is foundation. So foundation is pretty important. But what's more important with foundation, if you're looking for, if you want to avoid the dryness, is actually the techniques that you use. So when you choose your foundation, you can pick. It doesn't really. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but just make sure you go for a more hydrating foundation. Maybelline Fit Me is a really good hydrating foundation, but if you have oily skin, that's definitely one to avoid. If you have oily skin and you have dryness, go for a foundation that won't dry you out but will help control your oil. So you can go for something that's matte, but make sure it's not too matte. And I know that sounds kind of confusing, but make sure you want something that still has a little bit of, that will give you still a little bit of a glow, because if it's too matte, then that's what's gonna emphasize the dryness, and it's just not gonna make your skin look good. So we got the foundation covered. Next is the techniques that you use. So when you apply your foundation, there's usually, most people will apply their foundation either with a brush or with a sponge. I use sponges. Personally, I'll always use a sponge. Brushes are just not for me because I just don't think they apply very well. I don't think they cover well, but that's a whole nother story. So If you're looking to avoid dryness, I would recommend you apply your foundation with a wet sponge. Now, I have a beauty blender right here, and what I do is I just wet it before I apply my makeup, and I squeeze out all of the water, and then I use it to apply my foundation. And I actually use this for my powder too, but I'll get into that a little bit later. You can also use, there's a lot of other sponges you can use. If you live in Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart sells this purple sponge by Quo, and that one is really good. I used to use that like when I was broke and I couldn't afford to shop at Sephora, and that one was like really great. I never had any problems with it. I still always make sure like I have one because it's a really good one, especially if you want like that dewy look. You'll definitely love that sponge. So make sure you avoid dry application if you're looking to avoid dryness, because dry application is going to give you more of a matte finish. So if you want, if you're trying to avoid the dryness, then I would recommend using a wet sponge. You can even use those little like the triangular latex sponges. Those ones work fine too. Just wet it under the faucet, and then you can apply your makeup like the way you would with a beauty blender. So we got the foundation covered. So next is powder. And powder is really important because a lot of people, especially if you have oily skin, you need to use powder, but powder can really emphasize your dryness. So what you want to do is, if you have dry patches on your face and you still need to use powder, what you want to do is apply powder only to the areas that you need it. So this will differ depending on the kind of skin that you have, but generally the areas that you would need to make sure you powder are the sides of your nose, around your forehead, and then right here under your eyes, only where the creasing is. You don't have to take it down under here where the highlight is, but if you can see right here where the creasing is, or where your eyes tend to crease, make sure you powder this area, because it's really important to make sure that your concealer doesn't start to crease, and if you don't set it with powder, then that's gonna happen. And when you apply your powder, you can apply it with a brush, and if you do choose to apply it with a brush, make sure when you apply it, you dab it on. You don't swirl it on, because when you swirl it, it'll displace the foundation that you've applied. So if you've covered something, it might shift the foundation out of its place. So you want to make sure that you're just patting it on. You can pat it on the way you would with a beauty blender. So actually, I have a brush here. This is just the one that came with the Naked palette. So, so say you were like covering, or say you were powdering under your eyes. I would do, this is how I apply powder under my eyes. So I just dab it like that. So you want to avoid like the sweeping motion or swirling it, because that's going to displace your foundation. You can also use a beauty blender or like a latex sponge. That, in my opinion, is the best way to powder your face, because it makes sure that you don't have any of that excess powder. And excuse me, and if you have dryness, especially under your eyes, I know that's a problem for a lot of people, especially when you get a little bit older. That will definitely help a lot with that. So lastly, so we've covered all of like the makeup and skincare. So lastly, what you need to remember is maintaining your makeup. So once you've applied your foundation and your makeup and everything looks flawless, you want to make sure that it stays that way. And what's really important is to make sure that you have a good fixing spray. So what a fixing spray is, it's going to do two things, or actually it'll do three things. One, it'll keep your makeup in place, or so it's supposed to. Personally, I don't really believe that fixing sprays do very much in terms of the longevity of your makeup, but I do think they make your makeup look a lot better. The second thing that it's gonna do is it's gonna take away the powderiness from your powder that you've applied, and it'll just give you like more of a glow if that's what you're looking for. But if that's not what you're looking for, it'll just help overall just to keep your face hydrated and to prevent the dryness that you're trying to avoid. And it honestly depends on the kind of skin you have, but there's a lot of different types of fixing sprays out there. You can make your own. I make my own all the time. What I do is I'll just take like an empty Fix Plus bottle, or any spray bottle, and I'll pour rose water into it. You can get rose water at any ethnic store, so like a Middle Eastern market or an Indian market, those will usually have them. And then I squeeze just like a few drops, maybe a teaspoon of aloe vera gel, and that's really good for people who have dry skin. Aloe vera is it's proven to be really beneficial for dry skin. So I just mix that all up and I shake it and I use that as a fixing spray, and it works amazing and it smells really good too. So make sure you choose a fixing spray that's right for your skin. Obviously, if you have oily skin, you want something that's going to control your oil, and if you have dry skin, you want something a little bit more hydrating. So I think I've covered pretty much everything that I know, at least. If anyone has any like tricks or any tips, please comment below and let me know. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. I'm probably going to make a video on like a whole separate video about just about like my skincare routine, and like, because I have dry skin, I have eczema, I have really dry skin, so I'm gonna make a whole separate video on that. So if you guys are interested, stay tuned and subscribe for more, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.